Hello and welcome. Here we are again, the Marianne and Corinna duo. So
Still a duo. Still a duo.
we're still a duo. We're not a quadrat yet.
Not yet.
Having doubled, yeah, not yet. Um, it's the first one in 2022. And in our conversation yesterday, we were going about, what would we like to do personally, et cetera, in this new year. And what really came up when we looked for the theme of our conversation was that there is an intensity present when you start something new. And it doesn't have to necessarily be the beginning of the year, but uh, it's just time wise fits
Yeah.
that way. And today it's Marianne's turn to start us out. Here you go.
Thank you, Karina. You gave me the intensity of the new beginning. Oh my God. It is indeed. It is something that, at least in my world, during the holidays, came more in the front of. I took more, as I would say, a time off during those days, which is not really mean that I'm sitting and not doing anything or checking out. No, I was really present with everything. But for myself, I chose to withdraw me from the normal rush everyone goes in.
Mhm.
And it was there that it started to, I got something more clear about intensity as people around me spoke and still are speaking of, oh, there is so much intensity and making that intensity wrong. While for
Mm.
me, it was like, oh, but this intensity for me is an excitement of new beginnings.
Yeah.
Even though what is going on in the world is that related to a new beginning, whatever it will be or is, we don't know it.
Yeah.
And it was more that connotation of intensity is bad, is not done, is something you have to avoid. And truly, when we don't avoid an intensity, how much more ease we can have with birth of that new beginning, whatever it is. And that took me back to my own life when I gave birth to my children, especially the first one. I can remember, Karina, that came to a point that I said to the nurse, stop. I can't do it any longer. This has to stop. I'm giving it up. And she said, yeah, but just one more step, just one more press out, breathing out, and it's all over. And as a sudden, it is something. The intensity of that new beginning is bringing us in a way to that point that it looks like I can't go on. I give up. It's enough. But it is in that moment that when you go on, something new is born. And yes, that intensity for me is more how would it be if more people could get or receive that
Mhm.
intensity really is perhaps an energy that is required to bring out something as we see in nature also.
Yeah. Your sharing of the birth of your first one brought me back to the same situation. And you learn in the preparation classes that labor takes about 6 hours. And I went into the hospital after the water broke, and my contractions really started. And after an hour, I called the nurse and I said, okay, I need something, because I wanted to do natural birthing. And
Mm.
so she said, okay, let me check. And she said, no, you don't get anything. I'm calling the doctor.
Yeah,
At that point, then I thought, okay, because initially it was, I'm not going to do 5 more hours or 6 more hours or whatever of this. That's not, doesn't work for me. But when I heard that she's calling the doctor, that I'm basically ready to go, I said, okay, I can deal with that.
and isn't that interesting, Karina, that you mention it literally as you thinking giving up and you thinking I can't deal with it, and that is in a moment that birth already is started.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, it
yeah,
has.
that's so beautiful.
And the other thing is, I mean, right now, if I look outside, we have a snow cover because we started the new year with some
Mhm.
decent snow. I mean, mostly we got a sprinkling of maybe a quarter or half an inch that was gone by the afternoon. But this time, we were for 2 days below freezing constantly. And it was probably 3, 4 inches of what we actually got as snow cover. So it looks like nothing is happening. Yet, on some level, I'm keenly aware that there is a lot happening underground, as if the earth is getting ready for spring, which is just a few months away. And yes, on top, nothing happens. And how far is that also part of that whole new beginning in us when and even when we create, how much time goes in before that new product sees the light of day, is being birthed? There is a lot
Some
of underground hidden work that is actually going on for all of us, no matter what it is.
exactly. There is a lot going on, and as you mentioned, it is covered up with the snow. And there we know, we can see the snow, and there is a knowing because we experienced it time after time after time that there will be a time that the snow is melting and disappears. And at the same time, that process is also going on in our daily life with creations, with wishes, with actualizations. And
Mhm.
from the start, it looks like it is covered because we can't really see what's going on. We Because we don't want to perceive always. We want to see the things, not
Yeah.
perceive the things. And that is the way I went now these holidays was, let me perceive, let me be, and let me perceive and learn from all those energies. And really questioning for myself, where do I dismiss energies that are really creative, that are part of whatever is going on?
Mhm.
Where do I avoid to be present with it as though I can say, yeah, not me, I didn't knew it. We use and we go with so many things as in the covering because we don't see it. But because we don't see it, we are not willing to perceive what is going on.
Yeah.
That's the energy I got from what you were telling, and was similar with
Yeah.
what I got during that week. Because yeah, there was a lot going on, and there was a lot creation going on, although it is not yet seen the light, give birth, but it is. It is coming. It is preparing.
And I mean, for me, I'm having ideas, and in order to even implement them, there is a learning curve that I need to go through. There's certain questions where I've started to make a list and said, okay, you need to contact so and so and ask these questions, et cetera, et cetera. And it'll take time before any of those ideas actually show up visible for
Exactly.
others.
Yeah. Do you know what pinked me in this second, Karina?
Hmm?
Was when I hear the first time about the energy of fear is quite similar with the energy of excitement,
Hmm.
which when I explore it is true for me.
Yeah.
And now in this moment, it was also, yeah, but also here, intensity, where we make intensity wrong, is
Okay.
also a similar energy of the excitement of what is coming,
Hmm.
of what is going on. Hmm.
I want to put that one out because it refers to what you just said, is how often do we give up because we misinterpret the
Yes.
energy.
Oh, yes. As we we did it so many times, for sure,
Oh,
for sure. And it is that willingness to be present that brings you the clarity that leads you to being and perceiving what is going on. And being present for me lured me also to stay out of conclusion.
that's one thing. And what that comment just triggered for me is how much is creation sort of like a birth process. There is the pregnancy where you may see because my belly is growing, as pregnancy goes
Yeah,
on. But there is also the fact that I am feeding the baby, I am nourishing, I am contributing energy to the baby. And so, how much do we nourish ideas? And then at some point, we just say, oh, it's not happening. And we start withdrawing the idea, which then is almost like I'm refusing to birth, which would kill the
exactly.
baby and which does kill the idea. And once the idea has its own life force, we still need to contribute, but it's in a different way than what we have been contributing up to that point.
Yeah. And to stay even with your pregnancy example, is also when you are pregnant, you know that you are nursing your baby,
Mm-hmm.
but you don't know exactly how that is working. You know that you are eating and that you take rest and that you take exercise or whatever, but how it does really go inside of your belly, we don't have a clue. We can
We
look
know.
up, there is a knowing, but we don't have really a clue how that works.
Mm-hmm.
And is that also with that nourishing of that idea we have? How much more do we nourish the idea, the creation, where we also not really know of how exactly the process is going.
Yeah.
So that pregnancy is really a way that helps me even more now to get clear of, yeah, how many times I thought I wasn't nourishing an idea. How many times that was that, oh yeah, that's an idea, and I wrote it down, or even not. And then it looks like it's not an ongoing thing. It's dropped. And then as a sudden, it comes in the front again. But then it isn't exact the same because it is already nourished in
Yeah.
some or another way. Wow. Yes.
And how often do we kill our ideas just before the point of birth, so to speak? Because we come to, at least for me, that is true. I come to the conclusion, okay, it's been so long and nothing is coming of it, so just forget it. I'm, barking up the wrong tree, going down the wrong path, whatever analogy I want to choose. But it's sort of like I'm aborting the birth.
And this brings something different again, as when we are pregnant of our baby, aren't we willing to ask questions? Because there is such a force inside of us to keep the baby alive and to give it birth. And we will do everything. And we will ask questions and we will take actions because that child will be born whatever it takes. But
Mhm.
do we the same with creations? Do we ask things? Do we really take actions that is required to give truly birth? I'm not sure of that.
I would, my guess would be we ask initially questions, but then it's sort of like we go
Yeah.
up and then it fades out. And as it fades out, we start abandoning it.
Exactly. We don't check in as with a pregnancy, you
Yeah.
check in during the process, but so often we don't check in the creation process. It is starting and with questions, and then we go on and on and on. But we forget to check in. Is it still this? Is it still that? What is required? Yes.
And the checking in happened in the birth process because we have the visits with the gynecologist.
Yes.
Maybe we need a gynecologist of a different kind to birth our ideas. Somebody
Yeah.
who helps us stay on track, who allows us to, continue to work and maybe even helps us pinpoint the moment of birth, meaning when the idea is actually there and now requires a different kind of sustenance. I mean,
Yes.
as long as the baby is in me, it's one thing, but then I need to start nursing it.
Yes.
And there is even, my one of my experiences, it depends on what you eat.
Yeah.
They may not like the taste of the food that you have been eating that comes
Exactly.
through the milk, the breast milk.
Exactly. Yeah.
So, how do we need to learn to stay with that example on what kind of energy contribution the idea now needs in
Yeah.
order to be sustainable?
And even the process can be with a pregnancy that the baby is rushing out and wants to be born as in a period that it is not really, how possible in a way to live independent as an early bird. And then we do also everything to nourish as it be, yeah, giving the opportunity, the chance, the possibilities to the baby to grow even more. So it is gaining not solidity, but a force, a life
A
force,
life force, yeah.
a life force. And with creations, could it be that sometimes we are so excited and we want to rush it through, and then we rush it through and it doesn't work because it didn't have enough life force.
Yet, yeah.
So yeah, that pregnancy comparison, that idea is, how much is that really going on in our daily
Yeah.
life that we dismiss? And it is sometimes with a pregnant woman can go relaxed because everything is smooth and flowing and going. But there are pregnancies that are really intense and that require a lot of nourishing and a lot of changes and a lot of whatever.
Yeah.
So, where do we also conclude that when there was an idea that smoothly flowed out and saw the light and did grow
Mhm.
and nourished, that when there is another thing and it's not going the same way, how often do we conclude there, oh, it will not be the right idea, or it's not the right time, or whatever we conclude, and then we put it aside.
Yeah.
Hmm, that's also something interesting.
And how much, because you address the differences in how a pregnancy evolves. For like, I didn't have any morning sickness. I
Yeah,
even knew within 2 weeks that I was pregnant with my second one. And how many people have morning sickness?
yeah,
And some have it lighter, some have it heavier. But what if those are the conclusions that each one of us has on how the birth of an idea, of a product, is progressing? And if it is not according to those ideas, then
exactly,
again, we abandon it because
exactly.
it's
And
not
that's
right, we're
where
doing something wrong.
exactly, and that is also where it comes in for me as, be you, do it your own way, go with the flow as what works for you. Because with a pregnancy, is it your body that is in a demand of how it goes? And could it be that there, the projections and expectations and the curves and whatever are playing in to, yeah, to create even more difficulties as it is required sometimes.
Yeah.
So
And,
every birth is unique, every child is
and
unique,
every pregnancy is unique.
e- every process is unique,
Yeah.
but are we willing to receive that for ourselves? So could it be also that we go in a similar way with creation, with the process for everything we want to give birth, where it can be different?
And in that sense, it's really, are we willing to follow our knowing, as we have to let the body during a pregnancy follow its knowing,
Yeah,
and not listen to, oh, you should be doing it that way and you should be doing it that way. Uh, I mean, I'm not saying do not listen, but do not make it give it the significance that we often tend to give it.
Yeah. Yeah.
That are we willing to trust ourselves? And I know that that is a hard one, because there's so often that I sit and say, "Oh, how would you deal with a situation, with that kind of situation?" Because I read something in the news, or, recently we had the fire in the Denver area. So how would you deal with losing your house? How would you deal with this, that, and the other? And often I can't even imagine how I would deal. But am I willing to trust myself that when I'm in a situation like that, I will know what to do?
And that energy, Karina, if we are willing to be that energy every day, trusting ourselves that we will know what to do, to act on every day, no matter what, if it is towards our body, towards relationships, towards the creation, whatever, are we willing to trust ourselves? Because truly, that's coming up now. If I have an idea, for example, and yes, I'm excited and I start to ask and the process is starting. But truly, I never asked how I would be with it, act on it, when it is truly happening already. As you mentioned, what would I do if my house burns off and I have no longer a home to stay in? How would I act, react, or whatever? And you can't even imagine it.
Yeah.
Which is true, because it's too far out of the experience. It is. But isn't that similar with an idea, a creation? Because it is a creation, so we can't even imagine how it will be. We can perceive an energy, but when we make that significant, solid, as in a conclusion, that is really how it is meant to be, how much do we dismiss there? Is that trusting or is that control?
I think you just addressed one of the big culprits of humankind is how much do we desire to be in control?
Yes.
And that can express itself in all kinds of different ways.
Can I add something about that? Because you said in control. And for me, Karina, there is something around control that I became clear on. And the difference is, am I controlling? When I'm controlling, then is it because I'm functioning not from the trust and towards everything outside of me?
Okay.
But when I'm in control, then it is I'm present, I'm asking questions, I'm acting on it as though I perceive and I'm willing to receive and know and act. And that is for me in control, not from force, not from abuse, not from conclusion, but really from being present. And could it be that that slightly difference with control messes up so often with our minds? And yeah,
I absolutely agree. Yes. Yeah. And
because
while you were talking, I could perceive uh, the difference in energy of
yes,
control and control, being
yeah,
control and controlling.
Exactly. Controlling is more the doing as everything outside. Yeah.
Yeah. And you have to fit into this box that I have
Yeah.
prepared for you.
Yeah.
Versus control is really, as you said, an all around. You are part of the control. You are controlling yourself in a way by choosing to trust what you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Trusting, trusting yourself, trusting your knowing, trusting that you know what to
Yeah,
do, what to say, how to act on. And that is the true natural in
control.
control,
Yeah,
being in control, being that control.
yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And that is similar also with that intensity where we started from, is when we are willing to be in control, then the intensity is the excitement part, because
Yeah.
that is the movement that makes everything going. So intensity, in a way, is a more intense moving energy required to go on.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
And when we want to control that, not being in control, but doing control, that is where intensity is affecting us, is
can
controlling
become
us.
can become
Mm.
negative, yeah. That it's
Yeah.
too much.
Yeah.
Because, and how far does it become too much? By us not being willing to flow with the energy, to
Exactly.
move
Yeah.
and to shift and to change as things develop.
Yeah. Yeah. And even what comes up now is, during the process of letting go, that doing control, letting go of judgment, letting go of, yeah,
Conclusions.
expectations,
Yeah.
all those things that has me, that controlling me, often there was quite a bit intensity in my world, but exactly also in my body, as my body pushed it also out, all, yeah, where it
Mm,
was, where I hoarded it and kept it secret and kept it safe, and then allowing my body to move it. That movement of pulling it out was also often an intensity. And I'm I can remember the moments I made that intensity wrong as making my body wrong. For, is this really necessarily? Because I made my body wrong and I couldn't be present with, oh, but that's the movement my body requires. Because that's something I asked finally my body to do, to let go of. And then I made it wrong. So then that were the moments that the intensity stayed longer and became,
even more
I
intense.
was really in effect of it.
Yeah.
Where otherwise, when I chose to be present with it and perceiving and acknowledging, wow, magic body, wow, the force my body had to move the things through. But then it went so much quicker. It's not easy, but it was more ease and quicker.
Yeah.
As with
And
your birth, with your child, it was also quick and ease.
yes. And I went to the wrong conclusion that since
Yeah.
normally one says this is the second one is faster than the first one. So I figured the second one is going to be faster. Yeah. Nice thought.
We are so good in taking on
Concluding.
conclusions and definitions, and then we make a whole story around it, and then yeah, we can compare the stories, and then we can go on the ladder of better, less,
Yeah.
worse, whatever.
Oh,
Wow.
we are such funny creatures, huh?
Yeah. But the insanity of this, because we are laughing, and it is to laugh, to laugh with it,
It's laughable, yeah.
but it isn't in insanity as in all those choices. We we can't even receive not 1 second, no, not 1% of the magic and the truly unique way our bodies are with us. That nature is, that
Yeah.
earth is, that life is. We dismiss so many things in that insanity.
And how much are we creating out of that insanity that then doesn't make any sense?
Oh, yes, also.
I mean, I remember with the second one coming from the conclusion that it's going to be faster, and I was further away from the hospital. So I started contraction. They got sort of regular, and I said, okay, let's go. The moment I was in the hospital, I relaxed. The contractions were further apart. They said, okay, go for a walk. We did. Contractions came closer together. Okay, let's get back to the hospital.
Relax.
So,
Yeah,
yeah, I really, I get it how crazy on some level we can be.
we can. We can.
And are we
And
willing
since
to look at that even?
exactly because sincerely, Corina, I chose, yeah, a longer time ago that I would have fun when I become clear about these insanities I'm choosing, because it doesn't change anything when you
Yeah.
swirl down and hit on your own head as oh stupid. It is stupidity, yes, it is in insanity, but hey, now I know, now I can acknowledge it. How would it be that I receive it and receive it with joy? And what can I choose now different?
And, I mean, even just the simple ability to being able to laugh at yourself.
Yeah,
Or, everything is so dead serious. We have to be adults,
oh, adult, yes,
you know.
yes.
A child can laugh at themselves, but we need to know as adults of how things go and how the world works, and we need to be serious.
And even that, Karina, is that still true that a child can laugh with with himself?
Uh, let's say you definitely used to be.
It used to be
But
exactly.
I would agree, especially in today's time, I'm not so sure how much children still can laugh,
Exactly.
can even just laugh.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
was easy laughter for children. I mean, something hit them so funny, they saw the craziness, stupidity, weirdness, or however you want to call it, and laughed at it, and didn't take it serious.
And this brings me, Karina, the last weekend I was with a couple friends, and in a certain time, she said to me, you and your partner, you are laughing so much and easily. And I thought, yes, we do laugh a lot. Every day we laugh at least once. And laughing is really with yeah, with what we are saying, doing, choosing, whatever. But it catched me that I thought, wow, it's an adult and she is really open. It's not a person who is really serious with everything. She has a lot of humor herself. Noticing the laughter we, my partner and me, have, it did ring a bell, like, wow, wow.
Mm-hmm.
And it was also time for me to acknowledge even more that I am choosing, that we together choose different.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, what would it take for everyone to choose laughter? More laughter.
More laughter, more joy. The earth would love it.
The earth would love it.
You know,
And and
I've heard it
and
say
even we,
that.
yes,
Sorry,
go.
you finish.
Yeah, it is with my partner, we choose laughter, and it's not that we are looking always in the same direction, or he's creating from a really smaller place than I am choosing. But nevertheless, it is that allowance that of what he's choosing. He allows me, is in allowance from what I'm choosing, and we can still choose laughter together.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes,
The intensity.
yes. And even with intensity, a good laughter, how much takes it out the intensity also and goes into the relaxation.
Agreed. And how much do people consider laughter an intensity?
Oh, and a trap. Wow, yes.
You know?
Oh, wow, yes. This had a lot of energy, Karina. Really perceiving a huge
It,
heaviness.
it hit me, so to speak.
Wow. As it is a trap nearly. You can't be that joyful.
Yeah.
That's not accordingly with,
Yeah.
wow. Yes, but nevertheless, I'm choosing it still.
And I'm choosing it too. And both of us are choosing something new,
Yes,
which we start next week, having on Thursday an expanded look at what Tuesday's theme is. And we don't know yet what Tuesday's theme is. I will post as usual on Monday after our conversation what we're going to talk about.
yes,
And there, maybe we'll put the link to register for the Thursday
yeah,
on Monday already, and
yeah,
then put it again on Tuesday. So
yes.
people have 2
Good idea.
chances to get it. But let's see what that creates.
Yes. And for more clarity, it will also go with the Facebook Lives. We will shorten them up. So it's more like the Facebook Live is the teaser, and then we go into more in depth.
We throw out some ideas on Tuesday and explore the ideas on Thursday.
Yes, let's go for it. Okay, Karina, thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
Thank you and everybody
And
until next week.
also, exactly. Bye bye.
Bye bye.